Good afternoon, and welcome to Todd Klindt's SharePoint podcast number 289, recorded live Monday, April 18th, 2016, from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm your host, Shane Young, who's currently sweating, not because I'm nervous talking to you great people, not because I'm afraid that the IRS is finally going to bust in Todd's netcast and I'm going to do it while it's at my house, which would be very bad. None of those things. It's actually because it's 85 degrees outside. That's right. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, middle north, way up here, and it's 85 degrees outside right now, and it's April 18th. That's a little crazy. So, anyway, I'll be your host this week. Todd is off doing shenanigans. I think he's actually on a plane to Orlando to see Lori, our executive producer. They're down there for a conference this week, so should be fun. And unlike last week, this week I'm not forgetting the sponsors. So our sponsors are going to be SharePoint.Rackspace.com, right? Our good friends at Rackspace. They host the web, provide all the space for the netcast, all the storage, all the bandwidth, all the websites. They make sure that Todd gets a paycheck, which is really kind of an act of charity because I'm not certain he deserves a paycheck, and all those fun things. So you can check them out at SharePoint.Rackspace.com, or you can go to Rackspace.com/Microsoft to kind of get a more holistic view of the whole portfolio, including the fun-filled Azure stuff that I built once upon a time when I was a Racker also. On the production notes, Todd hasn't posted last week's show, mostly because he's trying to hold me down, right? He's not really a big fan of me doing the show, especially 2 weeks in a row. The power just goes to my head, and it really makes him sad. So he hasn't posted. So when you see this show, last week's show will be right behind it. That's the good news for those of you that aren't in the chat room, right? You just get the shows boom, boom. So you get back-to-back shows. You'll be like, 2 days of Shane, 2 days of Shane. It's hard to go wrong with two days of Shane. So also on the production notes, you can laugh and say that, we started, had a little technical difficulties. Been trying to get Laura looking all purdy for us, and she has not managed to get herself purdy enough to join the chat room yet, actually. But Laura's going to be on, Laura Rogers, and she's going to come on. She's got special announcements, but we got to get purdy, right? I mean, I got purdy. I got my Ohio State T-shirt on. My wife finished her executive MBA last week. Yay! But last week when it snowed, we had like an inch of snow. Yeah, it was her last day of school. Anyway, she's all done with that. So I put on my Purdy Ohio State shirt. We're just waiting on Laura to jump in here and join the show in whatever fantastic outfit that she might have on. We all know, right, if you ever met Laura at a conference on those party nights, she busts out some pretty cool stuff. She does different things. She's got different party dresses, anything from looks like an old prom dress to just a really fun color. So,
hi.
Oh my goodness, I hear a Laura Rogers. Hello, Laura. How are you?
Hey, good. Just battling my computer today.
I can't imagine why that is. I was just telling them, you get to host a show. What is it, every Wednesday about noon Eastern?
Yeah.
Yep, every Wednesday. I told them it had something to do with me being in charge. It was just making it too awkward for you. You wanted to be the boss.
It was. That must be what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad that you can join us, even if it's just your pretty logo bouncing around instead of your face. I guess all that primping you did to get ready and look pretty for the show just didn't matter.
Well, it wasn't primping. It was me getting my computer fixed.
Yeah, whatever. We decided it was wardrobe changes. You had 7 or 8. It was like the Grammys.
Yes, darling.
Yeah. We got the IW Mentor logo bouncing up and down, so I guess you should probably just dive in and what are you up to, Laura? What is IW Mentor? Why are we seeing that instead of your face?
Well, as you all might have heard a few weeks ago, Rackspace eliminated our whole SharePoint consulting department. So I went off and just decided to open my own company and just started a SharePoint training company. So that's what I decided to call it, IW Mentor, and I put up a few training classes on the site already, and I've just been, ever since they told us this and I decided to do this, I've just been scrambling to get information together, get content together, get the website up and the logo and all that fun stuff. And it's been a whirlwind. It's been a blast, though.
Yeah, it's starting a business is always fun, right? It's a lot of new things to learn, a lot of new skill set and muscles that you didn't know you needed.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
So, well, what type of classes? You want to kind of dive in a little bit and give us an idea? So
at Rackspace, I was teaching a power users class just every couple of months, and teaching that for a couple of years, I noticed that there was pretty good typical set of about 3 different types of users that would come to that class, and it was usually beginners that would sign up for the power user class, thinking, well, I want to be a power user, so that's for me, right?
Yep.
But it wasn't a beginner class, and so they would quickly get lost. And so, we'd have beginners, and we didn't offer a beginner class. So some of them would take it anyway, or some of them, would just kind of struggle through it. But another good, group of people were the actual power users. So the power users are going to be people that need to learn how to manage a SharePoint site, need to learn how to do permissions and all the different settings and things that exist and all the lists and libraries, how to do web parts, just all those power user things that are, you're not an end user necessarily, you're not just the one collaborating on the files, you're setting things up in there. So that's really what the power user class is. And then the third group of people that I would typically get in there were people that wanted to learn the more advanced stuff around building business solutions like workflows and form stuff. Well, this class didn't have the bandwidth for that. It was just, we had a little bit of time towards the end, to just kind of talk about the concept of workflows and the concepts of some of that stuff, but say this is what InfoPath is and things like that. But it was definitely not a deep dive into forms and workflows. So I went ahead and created a whole forms and workflows class, and then that's a little tricky too because the people that are doing forms, some of them are still using InfoPath, and some of them have moved on because InfoPath's a dying technology. So I went ahead and I'm going to have a whole different class for InfoPath because it is going to be around for another 10 years. So.
Yeah, the dying technology that just refuses to die, right?
Yes.
And so if I heard you correctly, that we got 3 different groups there. So we've got a beginner's audience. It's really someone who's brand new to SharePoint, has kind of got thrown to the wolves and needs to work in the platform to interact with a site that someone else has built, but not necessarily actually build and design their own environments. The second one is the power users. So those are like your site collection administrators, right? So they're going to go in, create a site collection, maybe build the list and libraries and the subsites and that type of stuff, but kind of drive that environment. And then the last one is the forms and the workflows people. So is it really do you have a way to kind of help people better self-identify whether they're a beginner or a power user, and what to do if they fall in between? Have you thought through kind of how that might work?
Right now, I just have I have syllabi. Is that the plural for syllabuses?
Sure.
Syllabi out on the website that just kind of lists out all the different things you're going to learn. But I plan on putting together some sort of little, like a little tutorial type of thing saying, what kind of SharePoint user am I, and help people answer questions to be able to figure out where they would, which class they would need to take.
That makes sense.
And then SharePoint 2016 is going to be pretty different from what I think things are going to change through the year. So things are going to change from right now. It's pretty much the same across SharePoint 2013 and Office 365. There are only just a handful of differences that I can just point out while I'm taking the class. So it doesn't really have to be separate classes, but pretty soon it's going to have to be separate classes because there's going to be enough of a difference between the multiple products. So that will be interesting.
That will be definitely interesting. I'm getting some feedback. Hopefully they're not hearing that on the show because they yell at me if they were. But so with the different between 2013 and 2016, I think that is going to kind of create some gruff, right? Because you also point out that today, even SharePoint Online, it pretty much changes every time you teach the class. So it's this you're always chasing your tail, if you will, on what it should go and what it shouldn't.
Yeah, that's always fun, redoing a bunch of screenshots every single time I teach the class. But yeah, that's what it is. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, well, that's why you have a successful business to be launched here, because someone's got to keep up with all that, and it's glad that IW Mentor is going to step up and do it. What about, are you going to do any consulting or any of that type of stuff as well, or is it just training? Is it just in-person classes? Is it just online? Is it on demand? What's kind of the whole gambit? What's the whole ball of yarn you'd like to sell me?
Yeah, I'm going to do each of the classes is going to have. Right now, the classes that are up are the live online instructor-led, so it's not live if it's online. Online instructor-led, and then it's going to have. I'm going to have recordings of all those. So I'm going to have the self-paced versions of all those as well. I just haven't recorded those yet. So then you'll be able to just go buy that and do it on your own. And then also I am doing consulting. I'm pretty slammed already, which is kind of overwhelming. So. But I wanted to try and at least, get all the training out there and get the recordings out there. And but yes, I am doing consulting.
So the consulting is more of a maybe to come type of thing, right? So you got it. Maybe in the future it might only be open to students who've registered and things like that. But right now you're just kind of trying to fend off the demand that you've got because it is so hot and heavy. That's pretty cool. So InfoPath, real quick, let's talk about that for a minute. So you said that, it's dying, that people shouldn't be using it, but then they just extended it 10 years. So what is your guidance to people who kind of ask about InfoPath? Is it only on-prem? Is it in Office 365? Is it in SharePoint 2016? I admittedly just don't know enough about the InfoPath story, so maybe if you just give us a minute to kind of catch us all up on where that is.
Did I fix the feedback when I muted you while you were talking? Did that help?
I don't know. I don't hear myself now. Yeah, I think you might have fixed it. So good job. Yay, your technical skills are right there. No wonder you can do consulting.
So InfoPath is, yeah, it's going to be there in SharePoint 2016. So it's, oh, look, you've got a child. It's going to be there in SharePoint 2016. So, and I have all those blog posts that I wrote, over the years on InfoPath, and I still get hundreds of questions on my blog about my InfoPath posts, and just people still doing all this stuff and still wanting to know how to do things, and so they're still using it. I feel like I may as well just go ahead and teach a class in it because it's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's just an antiquated technology.
Yeah, the demand's still there because they never came up with a better solution for building those customized automated forms, really, right? So it's kind of the reason they tried the whole data services or the access services stuff to replace it, but it just never really took. So makes sense.
Yeah, supposedly some things are in the works, but they're not, ready yet. So I guess we'll see.
Cool. Well, and so speaking of InfoPath, you mentioned your blog there. So is wonderlaura.com still the best place to kind of go and find you? Are you still blogging regularly? You still have your newsletter type of stuff? What's the story with wonderlaura.com now that you've got iwmentor.com?
Well, wonderlaura.com is still going to be where I have my blog, and it's still going to be, just all the community stuff and stuff that I update there. So the IW Mentor is just going to be my, just the company, just the training stuff, really. And I've got a button on my blog to sign up for my newsletter, and I think we put a link on IW Mentor too, right? Yeah. I'm going to have a newsletter where you can sign up for training updates and things like that, and also Power Hour updates. I haven't sent out any newsletters yet, but that's all set up, so at least I can start, getting a list of people together to be able to start sending out updates like that, because I've never really done that. Like for Power Hour, just kind of on the fly, and we just make it up as we go, but I'm going to try and start sending out information about what's coming up. And also Power Hour recently, I went ahead and created a Slack channel. So we put a little link in the little description for Power Hour, letting people know how to submit like a little form to say that they want to join the Slack channel, because anybody can join a Slack channel, you have to be invited. So when they submit the form, then it sends me a message, then I invite people. So I'm just having to invite people one at a time with their email addresses. And so that's why we started having our discussions, and so that's an IW Mentor Slack channel too. So I'm trying to, get the name out there everywhere.
And so the Slack channel, that's really just kind of a sidecar of the Power Hour that you've been running, and so really the best way for people to get involved with that is just to participate in the weekly Power Hour, and then that's where they can then sign up and kind of segue their way into the support, or not the support, but the community that's being built up in the Slack. Is that right?
Yeah, we were using the Q&A in the Google Hangout, and it's just it's pretty limited. It's just basically all you can do is they can ask questions and you can answer them verbally, but it's not like any kind of chat really. So we just thought that Slack would be, I just thought, after using Slack for other things, I just thought it would be better because it's more interactive. People can have a whole conversation going. You can have funny, you can put images, and you can have just, the little emote icons and things. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just more interactive. So I thought we'd try that out. And so yeah, we got about 30 or 40 people in there now. And it's that's just what we use for, that's why we do Power Hour Live, is so that we can have the Q&A the whole time. So we really just use it during Power Hour. I don't want it to turn into a forum because there are enough forums out there. So right. I don't really want that to be somewhere where people just go in and ask questions whenever. But during Power Hour, that's what we use for our live chat.
And what, oh yeah, and I wanted to mention the Giphy, right? The Giphy was always the most fun for Slack when I ran my product team too. There was those weird little videos. But so with the Power Hour, so I don't think we covered it exactly. How do I get involved with Power Hour? And then, because it was through Rackspace, and now that you're not with Rackspace, is there anything different about Power Hour, or how do I find out more about that?
That is on my YouTube channel. It is WonderLaura67, and there's a link to my YouTube channel just everywhere. It's at the top of WonderLaura.com and lots of places. So for now, all you do is you just show up there on Wednesdays at 11 Central, and it'll show, when you've got a live stream going, it'll show on the page. And it just broadcasts live. I don't think I'm going to be doing it next week because I'll be in Australia speaking at a conference. So, but yeah, that's how we do it. And then in the descriptions of the little YouTube channels, and as we post them, I'm going to put a link to the little form that you can fill out if you haven't joined the Slack channel yet to be able to get added to it.
Gotcha. Well, very cool. That's Slack seems to be Slack seems to be quickly taking over the world. So I'm glad you've just embraced it and said, "Oh, it's gonna be part of our experience here too." That's neat. In the chat room, there's actually a question. I was talking. It said, in consulting, how far into helping organizations put together end-user training, engagement, and adoption programs will you be getting? So I don't know if you wanted to chime in there and answer Mark's question, but I figured since he typed it, I should at least repeat it, and whether or not you ignore it is another question.
Hey, Mark. Hey, I don't know. I'm so slammed right now with consulting already that I'm not sure what the answer to that question is right now. So. Yeah.
So the amazing answer is you're open to discussing all of the above, and just fill out the form on the website and get in line.
Yeah.
It sounds terrible, but right, it's a good problem to have. So, so yeah, Mark appreciated my effort. That's all I really wanted, was Mark to be happy with me. So with all that, so you talked a little bit in the beginning, about all the trials and tribulations of starting your own company, right? Because you literally walked in one day, you found out that, hey, Rackspace isn't doing SharePoint services anymore, and the next day you said, all right, I'm going to figure out how to start my own company. And I don't know, do you want to kind of reflect on that a little bit? Maybe what's the most important thing you learned there? What was the biggest shock to your system? Or are you still just in complete disarray and just you haven't figured out what you figured out yet?
Well, thinking of a name was interesting, of course. That's one of the first things you have to do, and getting all the stupid paperwork, to get your official LLC. It was just frustrating because you just have to wait. You just have to apply, and then you just have to wait for a couple of weeks to get the paperwork back to say you're officially a company, and then you have to start a company bank account. And so they're all the little things that I did that by talking to entrepreneurs like yourself, people that had done this before. A lot of friends in the SharePoint community have their own companies, so people were freely giving me lots of advice about just little things here and there like that. For my website, we use Shopify for our SharePoint training at Rackspace, so I was just familiar with it already, so I just used Shopify, and that is my website. So that's what I used to sell the training classes. And so I got QuickBooks all set up, and got Shopify, I used the 99 Designs that you recommended, 99designs.com, to get the logo created. So it's like a crowdsourced thing, and you just say, I'm going to pay this much money to whoever wins, and then just a bunch of people, like 100 people, like create logos, and you get to choose one, you get to go back and forth with them, and you get to get votes from the community. That was kind of fun. So that's how I got the logo. What else?
Yeah, the 99 Design stuff, right? That was a fun one, and we had very different experiences, which is very interesting. So I just want to kind of push Laura towards 99 Designs, and if you're not familiar with it, you literally go out there and you give people kind of, hey, here's an idea of what I'm looking for. So in this case, Laura and I are both looking for logos. So you say, hey, here's the company name, maybe here's the tagline. You pick some different logos, like I like this style and this style and this style, and I like this color palette, and go. And like Laura said, I think my last contest I had over 200 different designs submitted from 150 different designers, and you just start chugging through them, and you rate them, and then you go through like a iterative process, and on the other side you end up with a nice professionally done logo for a couple $100. You really can't beat it. So yeah, 99 Designs was definitely one of those services that I think was pretty neat. And then Lori, because she's a dear, is feeding me great questions here. So here comes my softball. Do you have any resources you'd recommend for someone who wanted to start their own business? Maybe someone who could, through a service like, help you, guide you through this process. This was Lori's question, not mine.
Yeah, there's this great company called boldzebras.com that has been helping me out, that I've been working with a lot. It's been extremely helpful. And box checked. Are we talking about both of them?
Sure, we can talk about both of them. Yeah, sorry, that was a terrible commercial. But Lori literally asked me the question. So yes, I've been helping Laura with all this stuff. That was why last week when I was cussing about Shopify, it was Laura's Shopify website that I had been working on that was making me very angry at Shopify. But, so that's been one of the things I've gotten to do, is gotten to kind of dive in there and help Laura figure out how all these different pieces go together. And then our dear friend Box Checked, our virtual assistant service, is going to help Laura with some of the shenanigans that are QuickBooks and signing up people for online training. So, yay, mini commercial for me. It wasn't any intention, but Lori did it, so not my fault. I don't know, Laura, what else? What else did we not cover off that we want to make sure,
I'm getting closer to getting my webcam fixed.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm getting closer to wrapping the show up, so this is, the timing should be perfect.
Ooh, look, see?
Uh-oh. Let me hit the button. There. Everybody look, there's Laura finally, yay!
It was really bright for some reason. It was being weird, so my face looked like the sunshine was in my face. I couldn't figure it out, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know if everyone sees what I see, but I see like really bright edges and then like this gray film over top of just you.
Yeah, it's just something that's weird that needs to be adjusted. That I don't know. That's what I've been playing with the whole time we've been talking, but I'm closer now, so it's a little bit better.
You guys see how important my interview is to Laura. She's playing with her webcam and solving technical problems instead of talking to me. Let's see how this works.
Multitask, right?
Yeah, well. Well, very good. I'm glad you got that all worked. Oh, your hair kind of blew by there for a second. I thought maybe turn the fan on to create this, whoa. All right, quit pressing buttons. Woo.
Sorry. Anyway, it's like a
We're adults here.
Yeah, so there have been a lot of different. Oh, did you see that site that I sent you this morning? Help Scout. That's really cool. Help Scout is a little integration. So I wanted to be able to have a support.iwmentor.com web email address and be able to potentially have other people help me, like field questions and stuff like that, and not have to just have them all go to my personal email. So I first of all set it up as a group in Office 365 as a group and just put the email address to the group. And then I was like, well, then I could have other users potentially going in there and we could all check the group. But then I was looking at Office 365 group integrations, and I think that's how I found it. It's called Help Scout. So Help Scout is a whole other website that you would go to get to process tickets. So I've made it now so that any email that goes to support@iwmentor.com goes to this little ticketing system, and any voicemail that goes to the phone number for the company goes to the ticketing system. So then, and it's got integrations into QuickBooks, and it's got integrations into MailChimp. So whenever things come in, it'll actually tie it together with customers. It'll say, like, you'll be able to tell, like, associated information if they're in your customer database for MailChimp and things like that. It'll all be tied together in the little ticketing system, and you can respond to them and do like that and close the ticket and things like that. But it's really neat. Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Oh, now the echo's back.
Oh, let me mute it.
Yeah, so there you go. So that is a pretty cool little setup tool there. And, it reminded me that one of the things I wanted to make sure we talked about when you talk about setting up your business, you kind of hit on them quickly, but it is important to separate your identity, right? So having a new dedicated work email, a new dedicated work phone number, a new dedicated work mailing address, right? One of the first passes of Laura's information, she was mailing out to the world her home address. And I'm like, that's probably not a good idea, Laura. So, we bopped her on the head there and made sure, and the thing I always recommend to people is go to like your local UPS store and just get a mailbox there. It costs you a couple bucks a month, but then that way all your business mail goes into one place. When you get all that hate mail from the government, these forms you got to fill out and this type of stuff, it all goes to one place. You just have one bad moment of mail, not lots of them. All right, well, I think we're kind of coming up to the end of our time here. I don't know, anything else any parting wisdom you want to share with everyone other than go to iwmentor.com and sign up for the newsletter?
Just spread the word, and, when people are looking for SharePoint training, just let them know that, that one of the unique things about it is just the fact that I've been doing SharePoint for 12 years or so, and so I've actually been using SharePoint. And a lot of training companies I see out there, it's just a trainer that's been handed a manual to teach something, and they don't necessarily have real-world experience. I definitely have SharePoint real-world experience, so I think one of the things that sets me apart from a lot of the training companies. But yeah, I'm not going to have any dev, programming. I'm not going to have any server admin necessarily, at least not that I can think of. But all that other stuff. So yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think that's one of the keys, right? Is you're not going to try and be anything that you're not. So you're not doing dev training, you're not doing admin training, you're not trying to compete in the training space. You just want to help end users, power users, and forms and workflow users do their thing, and then everybody else can do whatever else they need to. You're just going to do what you do best. All right, so I think that'll wrap us up for today. Thank you, Laura, for joining us. Let's see, what else am I supposed to tell you guys before I end this show? So I think I'm supposed to switch over to shameless promotion time. Laura promoted me, yay. I promoted Laura, yay. Thanks to Lori's question. Good job, Lori. That's why you're the executive producer. So just a reminder, Todd will be at the Oklahoma City SharePoint user group May 4th. He'll be doing PowerShell with Office 365. And like I've pointed out before, I kind of wrote that session originally, so it should be a good enough content. It won't. He's not starting from scratch, so he should be okay. SP TechCon, June 27th through the 30th, he'll be doing configuring Active Directory replication with Azure AD and PowerShell with SharePoint Online. The PowerShell one, I wrote, you're safe. That configuring AD one, you probably should be a little nervous about. So, and I guess to finish up shameless promotion, Laura, you said you're going to Australia next week. You want to tell us what that's about real quick?
Yes, I'm speaking at the Digital Workplace Conference, and it's going to be in Melbourne. So that's pretty exciting. I'm going to be gone for like a week and a half. Just, it takes so long to get there. So, and then right after that, I'm going to San Francisco for the big announcement, the big SharePoint of the future. What's it called? It's yeah, so it's a virtual event really. They're only inviting like a handful of people to be in there in person. But I will be there, and I will be live blogging and tweeting and all that stuff, and it's going to be super exciting. So that's May 4th, and that's the big Future of SharePoint event that they've been talking about for a few weeks now. So y'all all go watch that virtually.
Oh, very cool. All right. Well, thank you. I think my only shameless promotion is as soon as I hang up here, I'm taking me and my kids to Chick-fil-A for dinner because it is 6 o'clock Eastern time, and I'm hungry. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Gymnastics, so.